What's happening, Myles?
Ooh, what's happening, Brian? It is Friday. Did you know that?
I checked, and there were indeed 2 Ys when I woke up, so I did know that it was Friday. Yes.
Awesome. It
Yeah.
is Friday indeed. And you know what else?
No, I didn't realize you were waiting for my what else?
It's International VR Day.
Oh, well,
It's not. Every day is
day
International
to announce.
VR. It's
What a great
every day is
day to
International VR Day.
Death of VR.
Wow. Are we're really going down that? Oh, okay.
Oh, it's not going to be a positive episode.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're like, oh, good, I've been down in the dumps and I need the eternal optimist Brian Paul to lift me up and hold me toward the sun, like Simba at the beginning of The Lion King. I need the bright rays of the earth on my face. I need some vitamin D, and Brian Paul is the only one that can give it. No, nope. Someone's gonna cry before the end of this, Myles. Someone's gonna cry. It'll be me.
This episode is sponsored. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Was this you reading a sponsorship deal for
oh my God,
for online therapy? I love it.
No, I'm sponsored by microdosing. Getting as many drugs into your system as you can. I promise it'll help. All right, dude. You ready to do this? You ready?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Let's go.
Let's go.
This is PSVR GamesCast Live. We film live every single Monday, Wednesday, and 2 Ys Friday right here on YouTube. We do it live 6 p.m. Eastern for your viewing pleasure. We care so much about your eyes, but we also care about your oral pleasure. That's why our good friend Rypop puts us up on podcast services of your choice. We also care about your time. You know that? We care about your time. Did you know that, Myles? We care about your time. That's why we sit here and don't repeat things 3 times. We care about your time. That's why Rhodey...
We care about your time, people.
We do.
We do indeed care about your time.
Rhodey and Wally put timestamps into the show after the fact. Be nice to them. Don't be like, where the fuck are the timestamps if they're not up within the first couple hours? Because you know what? These guys volunteered their time. Yeah, it's like really the only reason. Really the only reason this channel runs. That's it. My name is Brian Paul from this channel right here. Without Parole. You may recognize me from Wednesday's episode or Monday's episode or past Friday's episode. That's all we do anymore, just GamesCast. I've given up on everything. But you may you may recognize my co-host today, Myles Dyer, from youtube.com/Myles, where he streams just about every fucking game he can get his hands on. What's happening, Myles?
Hey, Brian. Hey, GameCats. Hope you're all doing well. Yeah, I've been on a roll with my Let's Plays, doing one a day, not cramming them all into a weekend. And actually, it's been a nice flow. Although I have to say, I am aching all over from playing Mutant League Boxing or Mutant Boxing League. Which way around is it?
Mutant. Yeah. I had a good time with that.
Yeah, I was listening to you and Wes talking about it on Wednesday and at Wednesday, and yeah, I was like, all right, let's give it a go. So jumped into it yesterday. Very pricey game. It's like $35.
Yeah.
But the animation style I love. It's a very fast-paced game. I've never played any of the arcadey boxing games, like on PSVR. I've only played Creed, I think, in any modern day. Because what's the cartoony arcadey boxing game that was on PSVR?
Knockout League.
That was it. That was a good game.
Yeah. I mean, it was crowd favorite for early days of VR. I feel like this is a pretty good evolution of the formula.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, I had a pretty good time with it. I mean, price-wise, could I justify it? I'm not entirely sure. Because, like with a lot of these games, you go into them and you have a great time, but am I going to keep coming back? Doesn't have a platinum trophy. I did say I thought it did on the show, but
whoa, it didn't? I didn't check.
No.
Oh my God, I just assumed because there's like so much to do in the game.
Assumed.
The price, everything. Holy crap. Okay, now 0 out of 10. Holy shit. Yeah. Although you and I were saying, you and I were talking a little bit before the show, Myles, and we were both saying that like parts of our bodies hurt.
My back is messed. And it got and it really gets your heart rate up. I had my heart monitor on, and it got up to 170 at some. But then again, Resident Evil Village got my heart up to 140 something. So
Madison brought mine down to 0 for 3 minutes straight.
So for today's Let's Play, I thought, okay, I need to do something that's not going to require a lot of movement, and I went with Bridge the Gap was the game. Yeah. And I thought, oh, it's like Lemmings, like VR Lemmings. I was a big fan of Lemmings as a kid, and normally I go for at least an hour on these games. Fitness games is a bit less because they're exhausting, or if it's a shovelware game, I kind of know what I'm getting myself into. This game, I called time at around 50 minutes. I genuinely was angry. And I was telling you before the show, I think I was more angry with this game than I've been for shovelware. Because with shovelware, I'm like, at least they know they're trying to screw me over. Like, at least they know this game is not great. But the thing about this game is, like, the devs are wonderful and everything, and there might be some gameplay mechanics that aren't taught in the tutorial that I'm not aware of, that meant if I'd known them, I'd be having a better time. Because when I told you about the game, you said exactly what happened to me, which was you were on level 2 and you were like, this is already too hard. Yeah. There's 60 levels. By level 2, I was like, this is a really hard game. And I'll summarize it for the Game Cats in a couple of ways. Obviously, check out my Let's Play. It's only 40 minutes long. But when you start, and for those that don't understand Lemmings, like what the classic Lemmings game is, you have a long path and you got to get, and then they start coming out of a portal, one at a time, these little minions. And you basically got to get them to the exit. But you got to make sure they don't fall to their death, and so you have to pick them up and move them, or make ramps and stuff. But when the game begins, there's a start button, or if you stop, you don't do anything. Eventually, start moving anyway. But you can't place the blocks down and start setting up the path. You have to wait until they start. But then you can slow down the time. But when you do that, you can't do anything either. And there was just a lot of mechanics in there that I just thought, this is so difficult. And everyone in the chat, I mean, Lupus said, this is like Lemmings, but for octopus. And I was like, yes, that's exactly what it feels like. So
it needs to be like there needs to be a 2-player mode, right? Like just like Vectress Worlds,
right?
Where you have one person on each side of the grid, right? You could have 2 people working together in order to do it. Yeah, because it does seem like you need more than 2 hands. That makes sense. But yeah, single player only, which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So I said at the end of the live stream, if anyone in the chat comments afterwards, if the devs comment and say, "Hey Myles, you've missed this gameplay mechanic," and I give it a go, and then I have a blast with the game, I will do another live stream. Like, I was that frustrated with it. I was like, I must be missing something here, but maybe I'm not. And to be honest, there'll be people that love games that are relentlessly punishing from the get-go, and if so, that's for you. But that's not kind of how it was sold to me from the branding. It looked like a fun, cutesy little game, and yeah, it was brutal. So
I can only imagine it doesn't take long to make a level when they look like this. They just put down a bunch of blocks and give you starting point, ending point. I can't imagine some of the easier levels take more than a few minutes to. So why not throw in 20 more levels that gradually increase the difficulty? My big question when I was playing was like, did I just hit a difficulty spike, or is it just this difficult from here on out? There's no indication as to whether it's just going to be impossible for the next 3 hours.
I even went back to play the tutorial a second time on the Let's Play to see, okay, now I've played a few of the levels, contextually, is there stuff I've missed? Right. And the only thing I could find was there was a thing saying collect coins, which if a level's too hard, you spend it to skip the level. No, I don't want to just skip content to get through it. I want to play and understand. And I do think that it is just poor design in progression, where the whole point is you have a tutorial, here's the basics, and then the way the levels are is levels should bring in a specific new part of the puzzle you need to think about. You'd want that in the first world. There are 5 worlds, 5 biomes with 12 levels each. And the fact that by the second biome, I'm just like, this is hard, and there's no real sense of like what am I supposed to do and what's the new mechanic. There is one mechanic that's really cool though, is you can place your hands out to be bridges, and when they walk over your hands, the haptics go. That's a cute little thing. So there are some cool things they do in that. But yeah, that's actually probably my biggest disappointment this week out of the games I've played. But yeah.
So it's like Lemmings in VR if Lemmings was insanely irritating. Have you noticed that Among Us is in VR? This is the worst segue ever, Myles.
Well,
just warning you
Among Us VR is a game that I do keep going back to every so often, just for a couple of games here or there.
Yeah,
and it's so fun, man. It's so fun, and based on this news we're about to go into, to be honest, I haven't even looked at the runner show. Shame on me. But the news is Among Us VR is changing its name to Among Us 3D. This is the same week that I saw reports from Upload VR that Meta has started saying that mixed reality games should include VR. So mixed reality is a term that means VR, and the devs have been going, no, mixed reality is something very specific. Why are we changing definitions? So changing definitions isn't always a good thing, but my first thought with this news about Among Us 3D, which is for those that don't know, the flat screen version of Among Us is top down. I never enjoyed it, but VR is amazing, being like there on the ground, first person. They're basically making that VR version for the flat screen now, so people can play with flat screen players. It's going to increase the player base. And my first thought when I heard about this was Phasmophobia. This is why Phasmophobia did so well, because being able to play with friends on the flat screen and flat screen friends being able to see you in the TV in VR, it increases the multiplayer pool. But it's smart. It makes sense. And from what little I know about this announcement, I think this is a great step for Shell Games.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been really cool for them to be able to implement crossplay support from the 2D version, right? It would have been like, okay, right? But like, I understand, like, we're doing different things and whatever. It doesn't quite make sense that way. So this is a pretty good idea, I think. I hope it pans out.
We'll have to wait and see, right? Yeah.
And so far, they've only announced it for Steam. If Shell Games is behind this, then like obviously they've been very, very timid about bringing support for their PSVR2 support to their games. So we'll have to see how this all pans out. But yeah, I definitely thought this was interesting. And yeah, the more players you can have, the better, because it's fun, dude. It's fun. Like, anybody who doesn't have friends to play with, join our Discord, and like we get together occasionally and play this game and have a blast. Like, I do nothing but laugh when I play this game. It's hilarious, right? But if you don't have friends to play with and you refuse to join our Discord because I don't know why, then like jumping in to play a random game could be, it's a gamble. You don't know if there's anyone's going to be playing. So this will definitely help that, and I think more games should do this. Although this is just sort of a backwards version of a hybrid game, so we think all games should do this. Honestly.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, man. Hold on a second. Let's get back over here. And real quick, shout out to GameCat Andrew Ehrenreich, who gifted one without parole membership. Thank you very much for your generosity, Andrew Ehrenreich. Hope you're doing well. We got Noctis with the €1, who said a few things in chat after they said, "Love your streams, man," and then followed it up with, oh, there was another one. Where'd it go? Oh, no, I lost it. There it is. Whenever I'm searching for a review of PSVR2 games, I'm watching this man. I apologize for all of the missing PSVR2 reviews. One of these days, I will get back to doing those, and it'll be great.
Well, just on that, Brian, I mean, this is a conversation that comes up from time to time, and you'll sometimes get people that say, I don't appreciate the opinion of so and so who covers games in this way. And for example, when I do my Let's Plays, most of the time it's my first impression, and it's 90 minutes, 2 hours. I don't give a score, don't really talk about the price. I just say, these are my impressions across graphics, audio, haptics. Did I have fun playing it? And this is the sort of person I think it's for. And that's definitely not good. But if there's a game that you're really interested in, then Brian's reviews, Wes's, AJ's coverage, guys that see the games to the end. I like the fact that between the four of us, we all have our own way of covering games, and I think it means that it allows the Game Cats and the community to get like a full rounded coverage, because you're never going to be able to do both. You're never going to be able to cover all of the games all the way to the end. It's just impossible. And so I just really like that we have that dynamic with it. It does mean I probably come across as an optimist a lot of the time, but it's because since I am playing everything, I do see the good in the bad. But on the flip side, I see the bad in the good. But yeah, it's been fun doing it, and I'm currently about 20 games behind now, I think, where I need to be. I've done about 235 Let's Plays now.
Yeah, I'm about 150 games behind where I need to be, which is why I introduced Brian Bites. And then I'm like, well, you know what? Brian Bites, I suffer the same problem with Brian Bites as I do with reviews. And that's like, I just end up trying to be too much of a perfectionist about it. I keep wanting to like edit little fun things into it. And it's like, oh no, these are supposed to be like literally 2-hour edits. And they end up becoming 2-day edits. And I'm like, well, what are we doing here? So
what do they say? The hardest part of being an artist is knowing when to walk away. That's what.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, it's fun because I remember like being in art school when it was like my favorite class was just like pencil drawing. Like it was like literally I did 3 years of drawing alone, and it was fun because that class was 3 hours long, and I learned that like 3 hours is the perfect time to go cut it off, and it's like the class is over and I'm done, right? And so so even after that, when I would draw, I would just set a 3-hour timer. Like for the rest of my life, I've done this, and at the 3-hour mark, it's like, okay, well, whatever it looks like at 3 hours, I'm done.
Right.
The problem is, Myles, is that only like 7 people would ever see my drawings, and so it was hard to get too self-conscious about them. And now it's like a review hits 50,000 views, and I'm like, God, I hope that was a good one.
To be fair, dude, that's actually in part what happened to me with no longer doing YouTube videos, like, and just doing live streams now. Is it was a mixture of burnout, and then it's not done a video for 2 weeks. God, this one better be good because it's been 2 weeks, and then it's 3 weeks have passed, and now the self mental like it's not good enough increases, and then it's like it's been 2 months. Oh my God, this has to be amazing, and then it just like eats yourself away, and it's so easy. And I find, for example, doing these Let's Plays of just doing one a day, I get to the weekend, I'm like, oh, I could do 4 today. I was like, nope, just going to do one today. Be 90 minutes, that's it. And I find actually it's got me into a much better flow with it. So not to impose a challenge, but maybe you should set yourself for 1 month, every day I'm going to do a Brian Bites. And you're like, got to post it by this time, no matter what it is. You can't think of anything worse. I bet you would nail it, because in 2009 I did something on my YouTube channel called 60 Second September, which, believe it or not, is every day in September I do a 60-second video. The first 3 days were absolute hell. I was like, oh my God, how am I going to do this for a full month? Right. And then by day 4 or 5, I was like, oh my God, like the weight of self-pressure went away, and then you breezed it. So I don't know. It doesn't have to be one a day, but I think if you got into that, could work. But
yeah, I mean, listen, practice makes improvement, right? If I do 30 Brian Bites over 30 days, then it's like by the end I'll have fucking figured out the formula, right?
That's true as well. Yeah.
And so hopefully no games come out for the next 30 days, because apparently
right. That's also it, isn't it? You got to play the games as well. It's not just about doing the video.
Right. Hitman comes out, and I'm like, okay, Brian Bite. I'm like, oh shit. That's what everybody wanted. That's for sure what everybody wanted. We got Waleed is now a game cat. Specifically, White Tiger in the chat with the Canadian $2 tip says, is Sony really doing nothing for the 2-year anniversary? I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll know tomorrow, won't we? Tomorrow is the 2-year anniversary of PSVR2, PSVR2's launch. And so I guess we'll know tomorrow. We speculated prior to this week. And we're generally assuming, we're like, they don't usually do cool stuff on the weekends. But when it comes to an anniversary, doing it on any day but the anniversary seems really silly.
Yeah.
And so stay tuned, man. Like if honestly, I don't know what any of my co-hosts are doing tomorrow. But if I wake up tomorrow morning and they're like, oh yeah, PlayStation VR2 Spotlight to celebrate the anniversary, I'm like, we're fucking going live. Like I'm going live. If anybody's with me, great. If not, I understand. And so like, well, we'll celebrate it in fashion if Sony does anything. But tomorrow's the day. Fortune Edge says maybe a blog post. Yeah, I mean that's I think the minimum we should expect. the second the words left my mouth, I was like, this is maybe being too optimistic. But yeah, the blog post, doing their
Has
spotlights
PlayStation ever
with
done a
like,
blog post on a weekend?
I don't know.
That's what I mean. I can't really remember, but yeah.
I don't know. So we'll see. We'll see what happens tomorrow. AJ says I'm going to be here streaming the PlayStation blog with you. Yeah, well, they won't announce it, so it'll just be me and AJ sitting up here live, just refreshing, hitting F5, being like, I wonder if anything's happening today. Still nothing. Still nothing. Still nothing.
You just do an episode called "If Sony did a 2-year anniversary blog post, this is what it would look like." That's
right.
it.
Let me just assemble some trailers real fast. BioShock VR. Whoa, craziness. Yeah. AJ says, yeah, and we'll talk about how great Shuhei was. Yep, pretty much. Anyway, yeah, we'll find out tomorrow. I don't really want to focus on that today because, we've been speculating for weeks, basically, and I think we're all tired of speculating. Now it's time for Sony to do their part. Myles, I think this would be a fun way to kick off this segment. This is not an official viewer takeover question, but we did get
not again. Not again. We did this last week. We're breaking the rules every week.
Oh,
I'm not sure how I feel about this.
If you post a comment on Without Parole, you are now warned in advance that it could become the topic of a show, right? We may put you on blast, FYI, right? Any comment could be a viewer takeover question. And so I'm going to bring this one up on screen. This one is from the VR Resistance. Says, I wish small devs wouldn't waste their time porting to PSVR2. If the VR Resistance is in the chat, what's up, man? Sorry to put you on blast. Those kind of games are not going to make much money here. We are PlayStation gamers. We want big games. Go big or go home, indie devs. Now, I followed that up and I was like, so what about like Phasmo and what about Ancient Dungeon? These are games that were initially made by teams of one person or two people, and so no to those. And he's like, no, not those, like the other ones, the other small games. And it's like, so my question, Myles, is where do we draw the line, and should there be any line drawn at all? Right? Should we just allow everything on the PlayStation Store? How should this work?
Are we talking about like preventing shovelware?
Preventing shovelware, or just like, shitty games or games that are perceived to be shitty, games that look like they're, they belong on the Quest 1 and nowhere else.
It's a difficult one because even there's a big conversation happening with the PlayStation Store as a whole, with there being just so much shovelware and AI generated stuff. And, so, even the big platforms haven't worked it out. And the reason it's an issue, some people go, well, it's obvious to know. But the problem is there are sometimes indie devs where it's their first game and it might not be a good game, but if people go through certification and they create a game, it's actually well within their right. They should be allowed to post it and, for the public to rate it and decide if it was good. The problem is stuff, being on the store, it takes away from the attention from other games which might be more deserving. And obviously a lot of these games aren't detected until they've sold quite a few, for something that's been made for very, very cheap. So unfortunately my answer is going to be a non-answer, which is I don't know what the question is, because I could definitely point at games and go, this is definitely shovelware. But I'm like, if that is actually someone's first ever game and they were attempting it, they might do a terrible game first, but then they might learn from it and then go on to make an amazing follow-up game.
Yeah,
but that's assuming good intent, right?
You're right. Rhodey's in the chat saying Vitruvius is an indie dev. And I agree with him. That was a 2-person team for the longest time. 2 people made Marvels, which you might not love. Some people might not love. I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought it was a nice little cute 3D platformer. Pretty decent gameplay for early PSVR 1 days. I really enjoyed that game. But just because somebody else doesn't like it doesn't mean it doesn't belong on the store. And then look what happened to Vitruvius. They released Shadow Legend. It was one of the most visually impressive games. It was so much fun to explore, still only made by 2 people. And then now they're growing and they've made Arcanage. Now they're a 4-person team. Like things are happening, and the guy who made Train Chase, that's one guy, right?
Yep.
And it's like, it clearly wasn't shovelware. it wasn't a great game, right? But he did listen to like literally every complaint I had about it in my Brian bite, and he addressed all those things. Did it make it a good game? No, but he was listening and wanted to make it better, right? And so he's like, sorry, this is my first game, I'm learning. And so now I'm like, well, I wonder what the train chase guy's going to do for his next game. And if it's awesome, then we'll be like, oh sweet, the few sales he got on the PlayStation Store made it all worthwhile, right? So my response to this question, or this statement, I guess, not really a question, was that like everything should be allowed. I think Sony should be better about curating things, but everything should find a home on the PlayStation Store. And who knows? Because if we draw the line somewhere, then what's going to happen is that we're going to accidentally keep a game like Ancient Dungeon off the store, right? A game that I gave a 10 out of 10 to, still one of my favorite games. I've been playing it all week with different people. I've been having an absolute blast with Ancient Dungeon all over again, right? It was $20, and I feel like I've gotten hundreds of dollars of gameplay out of it. Hey, so we never want to accidentally, prejudge a game, or say that this doesn't belong here, or say it's shit just because it looks like low budget.
One of my favorite PSVR games, which I always get laughed at for saying, Corix. Corix is like the most simple looking game, but it was so good, and I wish it did better. And I wish I would love them to bring it to PSVR2. Corix was so good. I think you've not hit the nail on the head there, Brian. Curation. You should allow everything unless it's offensive or it doesn't get through quality control. Like, there has to be some degree of quality control from Sony, and so there have been examples of PSVR2 titles which clearly shouldn't have been allowed on there and have been taken off, whether it's the Street 10 VR, whether it was Chris Payne Hero or Run or Die. Those are examples where, come on, I kind of feel like, I know they should be testing all the games, especially in VR games. They should employ people to do the tests. But yeah.
Shades of Grey Matter in the chat says, remember, there were games that couldn't get on the Meta Store for ages. To the Top was one that was stuck in App Lab. Yeah, that's absolutely true. To the Top we remember it as a PSVR1 classic, right? Just a fantastic game. Awesome, like, obstacle courses and great music and just like intuitive controls. It's such a great game. And Meta was like, doesn't belong over here. Like, what? It's like legit one of our favorite games of last gen. And Meta was like, no. And so he's like, who's the person to draw the line? And if we can't figure out where the line should be or who that person should be, then there shouldn't be one. And I see System Critical Dev in the chat saying that, like it or not, the VR industry right now is run by indie studios, right? It's being kept alive by indie studios. There would not be, VR would not be anything without indie studios. We'd get like 1 game a year, 2 games a year. I don't care how much Skydance, hey Tiff, wants to call themselves a AAA studio. Nope, they're not. Put those games on a flat screen. Those are single A at best. I call them very polished indie games. So I don't know, man.
Can I just respond to Water Side Guy who was asking in the chat? He said, should we get money back for unplayable buggy games, and what would that mean? The answer is yes. And you could say that I'm an exceptional case because I live stream games, but that's what I did with Run or Die. I flagged it up. I said, level 3, you can't exit this level because you have to pick up this item. It won't let it pick up. Sony checked it out and they went, yeah, you're right. And they took that down and Chris Payne Hero off the store. So maybe they had multiple complaints. Like, all I would say is, like, bring it up. If there's a case where it's unplayable and buggy and you bring it up and it's not dealt with, then feel aggrieved by it. But I think sometimes we often think there's an issue without trying it first. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
Obviously, we'd rather that we didn't get it in the first place, but sometimes you need to be the feedback to make it happen.
The PlayStation Store, I mean, I know there's like, they don't really have much competition, so like it's hard for us to like make any major changes over there just by complaining. But That's another thing. As we're saying, oh, this is how the PlayStation Store should run and be operated, by saying, hey, all games should be allowed, but also they should be curated. We're making big demands here, right? That Sony is never going to listen to. So while we're making big demands and trying to create a perfect VR utopia, well, then let's get some, let's get some refund options. Let's make it easier to refund games on the PlayStation Store. Let's do it the way Steam does it. Let's do it the way the Quest does it, and make it much easier to refund anything. Right? What do they give you? 2 hours to play a game? And if at any time during that 2 hours of playtime, you're unhappy, click the refund button, right? Will people abuse that? Yes, absolutely. But you know what? I think ultimately more games will get played, more games will be looked at, and people will feel less timid about making purchases when they find out that, if this is broken, like so many games are at launch, then they'll be less timid about saying, I'm going to pull the trigger on this $40 game because I can get my money back if it's broken. And so I think it might actually result in more purchases somehow.
I think it would result in more purchases because I think most people, it's the whole thing where you get the money back guarantee stuff. People get a product and then they like it and they're like, it's not exactly what I wanted, but I got a fair amount of it, so I'm going to stick with it. And it's not only that people be more likely to buy games knowing that if they don't like it, they can get the money back, but they'll be more likely to then go on and buy another game. And you know what I mean? And what you'll find is people start voting more with their wallet because it's like, it's not, oh, if I buy this game, I'm then not going to then vote for a game that turns out to be good. It's like, no, I can buy this game, and if it's really bad, I can get my money back and then give it to a developer that has a game that is more to my liking. I think it's a good idea, and it's one of many things that I find frustrating about Sony not doing with their store.
For sure. And with that out of the way, well, we've said how do we feel about lower quality games or whatever? It's a pretty good segue, I think, into talking about all these games that have been announced recently on the PlayStation Store. Again, they all seem like they have something in common. That's like, they're not AAA games. They are definitely indie games, and some of them could be great, and some of them might not be. So we're gonna kick this discussion off with the fact that developers of Smash Drums are bringing their game over to PSVR2 sometime this year, I believe. As long as I've got it right, they are bringing it over this year. I think all these games can already available for wishlist. And you can correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. Are you familiar with Smash Drums, Myles?
I heard of it from a while ago. I was familiar with it. I never played it. It was just on Quest, right? It wasn't a PSVR game.
It was not a PSVR game. I actually was in communication with these developers back in the PSVR 1 era and was like, hey, you guys ever bringing your game over to PSVR 1? And they're like, oh, yeah, well, we'll keep you posted and blah, blah, blah. Our plans are this, our plans are that, right? And then I didn't hear from them for 4 years. I get a DM from the same guy yesterday or the day before being like, hey, man, long time no talk. We're bringing our game to PSVR 2. And I was like, fantastic. Like, I don't know how much I care right now, right? Especially because I play Drums Rock. And unlike everybody else, I can't seem to get into it.
So I can't get into it.
You're in the same boat.
Yeah, and I was a drummer. That game, and I actually, the other day, I was like, oh, wow, there's all these DLCs with trophies. I'm going to buy them. And then I sat down, played one song, and I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot why this wasn't gelling with me. Yeah. So I didn't play any of it. From the trailer for this game, Smash Drums looks, I think it's just visually, it looks more my jam. Yeah. I think the thing I have with Drum Rock is just the UI, the way you've got these monsters coming towards you. Whereas this, it's like you're actually hitting the drums. It's the same why I like Ragnarok, because what you're doing is you've got runes coming towards you, and you've got to hit it when the rune is exactly under. And that, it's not to say that there's stuff I don't like about Drums Rock, 'cause there is. It's just I've not connected with it, unfortunately.
Yeah. Listen, I'm it's so funny to say this after the conversation we just had, but I'm kind of getting tired of this stuff. Like the number of rhythm games that we've played on PSVR 1 and PSVR 2 over the years has been just ridiculous. Like rhythm games, and a lot of them have like been combo rhythm exercise games, like workout games that combine some rhythm elements into it. And it's just like this whole subgenre or this whole genre is it's just a lot, man. I'm getting really tired of it. Again, this would have been great early PSVR 1, maybe even the launch of PSVR 2. And I can't get excited about this, but I do agree with you. I was not a big fan of the Drums Rock UI. I didn't like the whole demon thing because I'm scared of demons. It's real, guys. No, big cartoon demons. I was like, yeah, I get it. Like, that's the metal aesthetic, right? It's like every metal album for the longest time, like, fire and brimstone and demons and hell and whatever. Okay, I get it, right? I was like, it's not for me.
Something I loved about Drums Rock was the fact that you have to count yourself in with the sticks.
Yeah,
that is cool. That was a really cool feature. Something simple like that put a big smile on my face every time.
Yeah, and I don't mean to say that like, oh, that's not a good game. Especially considering that like most of the game cats go to bat for it every single time I bring it up and say anything negative. Like I get it. It's a good game that just doesn't appeal to me. So this is happening, and we'll see how this goes. Obviously, I forget who I was talking to, but they were saying like the benefit here is like the game's relatively old at this point, they've just had lots of DLC during the entire time it's been out. Right. So it's like, oh well, at least when it comes over here, at least when it gets here, we'll have we'll have all the DLC packs already available to us, and so it'll feel like a bigger launch, right? It's more likely that there will be music that you're interested in playing in this game than it was like 6 years ago, 7 years ago, whenever it came out. I'm just throwing out random numbers. I don't even know how long this game has been out. I guess I gotta look it up.
Sorry, we don't have a date on it yet, do we?
No, I believe the press release that they sent just said 2025, and I was like, well, that's pretty vague. There's still 10 more months.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me check the Steam listing. Wait a minute, it's not on Steam. Smash Drums is what, Quest only? I didn't. Okay.
Also, another question, Brian.
Talk to me.
On the PlayStation Store, it has at the bottom of the description, it's the AI XR 2021 VR Game of the Year finalist. I just want to ask a question generally. You know when you go like to a restaurant and they have like the certificates on the wall of like it was Restaurant of the Year. Yeah. How many years have to pass until you're like, yeah, all right, I think you're pushing on that one. Like,
right. Maybe you should get another award. Stop patting yourself on the back for something that happened in 2019. Yeah.
2021. To be honest, 2021 VR Game of the Year winner, I'd be like, okay, but finalist, like, it just feels like a bit like putting that at the end. You don't need to put that.
Also, it came out December 2021, like, so it's almost a 2022 game, which means it's only about 3 years old technically.
Yeah.
I don't know why. There was so many rhythm games during the PSVR 1 era that apparently I must have just merged this one with a different one, and it's like, oh yeah, here's another rhythm game. So yeah,
when you get to a pizza place and it's like it won the Pizza Awards 2001, you're like, anything since then?
Yeah. I know, man. My favorite pizza place sucks now, and in 2001 they were, or 2021 or whatever, they were amazing. So shit changes. Shit changes, you guys. All right. All right. I'm gonna bring up the trailer for our next game, Myles, which is this is gonna be a good one. It's going to be a good one. I can feel it.
Drop it like it's hot.
Ooh, I'm going to drop it from space like it's hot. Because this one's called Space Drop.
Whoa.
Have you seen the trailer for this, Myles?
No, I searched it, and the first result was the Red Bull video of Felix Baumgartner jumping off his space egg, or whatever it was.
Okay.
No, I haven't seen this. I'm trying to find I can't find the trailer.
All right. Let me see what I can do here, Myles. I should have been prepared here. VR trailer. I
found it.
Space Drop VR trailer is the first thing that came up. All right. This looks a lot like Vertigo Home. Not gonna lie. I do think that there's like, I love it. It says jump out of a starship or spaceship. I don't know what it said, and you're just trying to hit these green targets and avoid all of the obstacles. And listen, man, I am a fan of endless runners. I really am. I think they're a lot of fun. Like when Temple Run first came out, it was like, I mean, I played that for hours and hours and hours on my iPhone. And then what was the other one? Deadland, the first Deadland. This is the only reason I'm excited for Deadland 2, right? Is because Deadland 1, even though it was janky and kind of basic, it was a lot of fun, right? And so like, I do like endless runners. And if this is what this is, and it's just like, oh, how far can you get this time? Like, I don't know, man. If it's like $5, it could be okay. I don't know. What are you thinking? You're watching the trailer now. What's your impression?
Well, you talking about Deadland, and we'll save this convo for later. I played Deadland Polygon VR this week, and oh my god!
Whoa! That's a completely different game and shall not be mentioned on Gamescast Live.
But for this game, it looks cool. I mean, look, if you were actually like going towards planet Earth and like going through the atmosphere, I'd be interested. But this, from the trailer, it looks like you're just out in space, just bopping about, and I don't know.
All right, let's see what we can decipher here from. There are no user reviews, and it's been out for 8 months apparently on Steam.
Wow.
Yeah, let's see. Experience fast-paced action of Space Drop. Each level presents an adrenaline-pumping sequence in which you fly through warp tunnels and dodging obstacles, collecting power-ups, shooting down asteroids, and much, much more. With a vast variety of levels to conquer, each with its own difficulty, every jump becomes a true test of your skills and reflexes. Perfect for those craving fun, fast, frenetic VR action.
This was written by ChatGPT. I'm just telling you that.
Okay.
The way it's framed, that is a ChatGPT description.
That was also my ChatGPT voiceover.
It was very good. Very good.
Power-ups are key to survival in Space Drop. Get more shields to recover after hitting obstacles. Grab an invincibility pickup for those critical last-second moments. Snatch some energy for more ammunition. Ammunition? Wait a minute. Didn't show anybody firing anything. This is interesting. So very leaderboard heavy. Leap through spaceships, warp into warp tunnels in VR. Fly through space at breakneck speed. Shoot your way through obstacles with your blasters. That's cool. I didn't realize there was you can shoot stuff. That's kind of it. Listen, it's $10 on Steam. I feel like that's, having not played it, I'm like, this kind of game feels like, hey, this is a fun random pickup for $5. Make sure there's a platinum, and then we can talk. But
yeah, I was gonna say, if it has a platinum, I'm sold.
right. Myles will be the first one to get it because he will be the only one that buys it. Oh God. All right, we're gonna do the next one on the list, Myles. We're blasting through these. Teahouse of Souls. I know nothing about this, but it's actually listed on the PlayStation Store. I think, like I said, I think all of these might be available to wishlist. So
this looks cute.
It does look cute.
There's some weird, like, cow with it, like, celestial cow that's just floating there with its tongue stuck out. I don't know what the hell it is.
So this is not even out on Steam. This is not like some quick port. It seems like it's probably it may actually be doing a simultaneous launch on PSVR2 and Steam and who knows what else. Probably says at the end of the trailer that I didn't even watch. Listen to the various souls and serve the appropriate tea. Collect sunlights, water the seeds of emotions, and dry the leaves for them. The seeds of negative emotions grow into bitter tea leaves, and the seeds of positive emotions grow into sweet fruits. I'm a sweet fruit, Myles. Enjoy the sound of a gentle rain, firewood, birds, and grass beetles while your seeds of emotion grow. You may find your hidden story if you comfort the souls well. Enjoy Teahouse of Souls to discover why you are offering teas for the souls and what your personal story is behind it. I don't know if that told us really anything, but it does. So some of the stuff that's being shown here on the plays here. You know what? Let me bring up the Steam listing. Some of the stuff that's being shown is like kind of like these like VRAF elements, which kind of make this a little bit more appealing to me.
I think it looks cute. It looks chill, but I would love it if it had like some really fucked up twist, and it just went like really dark and messed up, and then it turned out into it'd be wicked. Like Bug Snacks. Bug Snacks, that has one of the most shocking endings of any game I've ever played.
See, this animated GIF right here is like showing like, you know, planting and watering and you know, harvesting. I don't know, man. I don't know. Listen, I get real tired of blowing shit up sometimes. I get real tired of blowing away xenomorphs and killing random people with really, really powerful weapons. Sometimes you just want to service some souls in a tea house. I don't know.
There's a bit where they open a book in the trailer, and then it's got like one of the tea souls, and above it, it has intimacy, and then 0%. So I don't know if we're getting it on with some of these tea souls, or it's like a Koi spin-off. Who knows?
I was going to say, let's hope so, until you said Koi spin-off. And then and I felt very uncomfortable. I forgot how to operate Discord. Hold on a second. And OBS at the same time. Wow. Oh yeah, a lot of people in the chat are saying it looks cozy.
Yeah, it does.
This could be really fun. Yep. All right. What do we got? We got
Speaking
like
of Teahouse of Souls, Brian, the next one is called
Talk to me.
Hide the Corpse.
And this is what happens in the Teahouse of Souls when the relationship goes sour?
I guess so.
Okay.
Oh, Hide the Corpse. I remember this trailer. This looks ridiculous.
Oh my god. Hold on a second. If you guys can hear this, I apologize.
This is one that's made for going viral. Like content online. You'll never guess what the objective of the game is.
Hold on. Okay, there we go. Finally. Sorry.
Right.
The objective of this game, the objective of the game that's called Hide the Corpse VR.
Yeah.
I bet it's I bet you make teas for Lost Souls and you have to
That's it.
different. That's it. Okay.
That's it.
Yeah,
You just got but then you've got you got like it looks like someone's sleeping or something, and I think you got to help them find somewhere to sleep. So they like throw them in the bath or put them in a closet, just wherever they can get a good night's rest.
Myles, this to me has streamer bait written all over it.
That's what I mean. It's total viral. It's wicked.
Yeah, like I feel like if you play this on your channel, so everybody who's an aspiring YouTuber, make sure you buy this on day one or get a review key, and the second you're able to, stream the fuck out of it, right?
Put it on TikTok.
Laugh hysterically at things that aren't funny, and just put all the corpses in compromising positions, and then next thing you know, you'll have 100,000 subscribers. That's the formula. You're welcome. In case you didn't know. Yeah, listen, I think it looks fun. But it definitely has streamer bait written all over it. Like I feel like doing this on your own, you'd be like, huh, right? But like this feels like a game that you want to share what you've done with people. So I think this will be really fun to watch other people play. I don't know how much fun I'd have playing it on my own though. But guess what? I'll stream it when it comes out, and then I can get 100,000 subscribers too. Ha! I'm gonna stream the fuck out of I Am Cat. I can start streaming again. I think I have the setup ready. I just need to like pull the trigger. Just haven't been feeling social, man. Like I've been feeling very antisocial, and have not wanted to be like, let's play a game.
That's it. Got to do it when you're ready.
Yeah. Although I did play. What the fuck did I play last night? I've been playing a lot of Ancient Dungeon this week with friends. Some people who have never played it before, and also last night I finally got back into Walkabout with Nick and Tiff, and we played the 8-bit layer, which was really good. It was really good. Yeah. You've already played 8-bit layer, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's got a cool ending.
Yeah. I don't even know if we were playing on the easy or hard difficulty because it was the first time I played it. So I don't know what the ending you're talking about is, if it's the one I saw or if it's a different one. Ian Stambridge says, I thought this was just the Quest 3 version of Hitman. That's really funny. I wish that was a quote in the trailer.
Yeah.
I thought this was just the Quest 3 version of Hitman. Ian Stambridge. Great. All right. And we got one more. And I gotta say, Myles, other than Teahouse of Souls, which I think might be like the most legitimate of all of these games, like the most game of like maybe the deepest, the most interesting of all these games. This one, I think it does something for me. And this is one of the ones I'm most interested in, and it's called Monster Snap.
And I love the studio's name.
Oh, what's it called?
Moo Duck Games.
Moo Duck?
Moo Duck Games, yeah.
Because that's the sound ducks make.
Moo. Yep.
Excellent. So this is inspired by Pokemon Snap, which classic game for all you N64 nerds out there. It's basically on rails, takes you through levels, and it's your job to photograph as much cool shit as possible. And I love this concept so much that, like, even though it kind of looks like, it kind of looks like Walkabout, to be honest with you. Even though, this is the kind of game where, like, you would think you would want to look as realistic as possible and have as much cool lighting and effects going on as you possibly could, because you want the ride to be enjoyable. You want to take in the visual splendor. I think it was good enough. It was good enough for me to care, to look around and try to spot cool little things that, maybe like hidden objects that you wouldn't notice the first couple times you go through. Like, really, it's Switchback without the shooting.
It has when out in the ocean, it has Dredge vibes in terms of the aesthetic. But yeah, the Walkabout stuff I see as well. Where was this announced? Because I'm looking at the trailer and someone says any plans for PSVR2 2 days ago, and 1 day ago they go, if the game does well on other platforms, then yes, we are hoping to make a PSVR2 port happen.
Oh, well, I got this from the Upload VR article. Here, I will bring that up on the screen. Filling time with do-do-do-do-do's. Oh my God, enough with the sound. Enough with the sound. I don't know how much. Oh, enough with the sirens. There's so much noise on my end. It's like, I don't even know. Sirens on my end, trailers on my end, too much noise on my end. Oh my God. All right, hold on a second. Let me bring up the, here we go. Monster Snap is Pokemon Snap for cryptids in VR. Let's see what this thing has to say. Skip ahead. Monster Snap is currently... Oh, here we go. Monster Snap currently targets Q1 2026 release window on Quest 2, Quest 3, and 3S, and PC VR. A PlayStation VR2 release and a possible Switch version will follow at a later date. Right. So they're saying, according to the article, which I would not take the article's word over the developer's word if the developers are the ones responding to the video. According to the article, they're making it sound like PSVR 2 is happening, but the Switch version may happen.
I kid you not, I refreshed the trailer page and the comment from the dev disappeared. But it's come back. No, I was like, can you imagine that they were watching this and they were like, shit, we were not going to say
that. So here's the funny thing, Myles, is that, like, I want to say like 2 or 3 years ago, there was this other game. Here, you know what? I have the trailer for it because I hoard trailers.
Well, I was going to ask, there was another game I was thinking where you were supposed to be cooking in a room for people and stuff like that. I swear we talked about it on the show and it never... Well, it was coming to PSVR 2 and it's still not come out yet. And we said, this... I just remember us talking about saying, this looks interesting as a concept.
I mean, there's a lot of games that haven't come to PSVR 2 yet that we've talked about, but the only one I can think of off the top of my head is Umami Grove.
That's what?
Not it, right? Umami Grove?
Maybe that is it.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's cooking in there. I think there's like harvesting and all that stuff.
Yeah, this is the one. This is the one I was thinking of. Yeah, yeah.
The last time I talked to them, the last time I talked to them, they were fairly confident, or they were confident that it was still coming to PSVR 2, but they just don't want to announce anything. Like, they're not willing to be like, even give us a release window, because they just don't. They don't want to disappoint anyone.
This is exact. I'm just looking at the track. This is exactly the game I was thinking of. I just a bit of a warped memory of it, but yeah.
So AJ in the chat, the man himself, AJ says, "I remember talking about this game forever ago." Well, AJ, I thought I was the one with the bad memory, because here's the game that we talked about forever ago. It's called Jurassic Snap, and they had this Kickstarter video that I just brought up. This is the crazy part, is that this was like legit 3 years ago, maybe longer, and they were targeting, like, must have been like 2022, 2023, and they were like, oh, targeting a release in 2025, some craziness like that, right? And I think at that point, it was like, they still were saying PSVR 1 because it was so far out. I don't know if PSVR 2 had been announced yet. I don't know what the deal was. And so in this game, looks like super pretty. It's definitely a step up from what we were just seeing in the Monster Snap trailer. Jurassic Snap looks Oh, AJ says I was about to correct myself and say it was Jurassic Snap. Yeah, this looks pretty. Like this has like a kind of a still an indie vibe, but just a better use of color and nice grass animation, and the animals look like they're better rendered, and all sorts of stuff. And this is also inspired by Pokemon Snap. So it just felt really strange to be like, it's really hard for me to get excited about the new Monster Snap when this Jurassic Snap looked like it was so much further along and so much better years ago, and then just sort of went radio silent. So I'm gonna try to do my research and see if Jurassic Snap is still happening. And my guess would be probably not. We'll see them. AJ, keep Googling and tell me if Jurassic Snap is still happening. Oh, Alejandro D says, I need Animal Crossing VR. Dude, don't we all? That Animal Crossing VR, like, especially if they added like an awesome multiplayer component, would be the coolest social space to hang out in, right? Like, go explore other people's villages and just see what other people have created.
Yeah,
I would love that.
Is Animal Crossing a Nintendo only game?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there's a lot of Nintendo properties we can think about coming to VR, like Pokemon. Oh, would be so good. Pokemon VR game would be the most amazing thing ever.
So that's it. Like there's always a lot of announced VR games. You know, if you keep a close eye on the PlayStation Store, there's a lot of announced VR games. We heard some rumors that that there could be really good stuff happening, really good stuff incoming. Exocards could be getting a surprise release very soon.
Surprise!
I mean, to the point where if there is an event tomorrow, I'm betting Sony would just be like, hey, it took you like 3 months to get through cert, but hey, we'll include you in part of our spotlight. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we'll see what happens. But like it does look like Exocards is going to be released very, very soon. But yeah, what I'm saying is that there always seems to be a lot of games on the PlayStation Store that just get overlooked. They're not interesting enough for us to headline with. And so every so often I want to kind of do an episode like this, Myles, where we just take all the new shit that we can find and then kind of investigate and see if any of them are sort of worth our while, or what we think of them. So
yeah, dude, absolutely. I mean, one game I played this week on my Let's Play that I had a really good time with, and I would say it's probably an overlooked game, was Captain Toonhead.
Oh yeah,
and the Punks from Outer Space. Have you played it?
Well, I think we all played the first level of it at PAX East.
Well, yeah, I scrubbed that from my memory, like people were scrubbing the headset with Clorix. But yeah, so I like tower defense games, but this is going to sound like an obvious thing. I like tower defense games when they're done well. If not, they can be brutally punishing and not a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I think this is my favorite tower defense game I've played on PSVR2, and there've been a handful of them, I think. And actually, out of any VR tower defense game, I think it's awesome.
Nice, that's good to hear. It didn't get stale. How long? You said you're about to platinum it, right? How close to the end?
Yeah, I'm on the grindy bit. So there's 4 areas, and each one has 3 levels. And each level could take anything, I have no idea, maybe 10 to 15, 20 minutes, maybe, depending on what it is. There are issues I definitely have with it. Click turning with the shutter, the black shutter when you do it, which is annoying. I find some of the controls were not quite intuitive, but it's well, the voiceovers are great. It's well scripted. Although I skipped over a lot of it when I wasn't doing my Let's Play afterwards. But once you get the hang of these extra mechanics and that, there's stuff to grind for and level up. So there's progression system. I'm not saying it's like an exceptional game, but I think it's pretty solid. I had a really good time with it. So yeah, if you're into tower defense games, definitely give it a consideration.
Sorry, did you? I swear I was paying attention. Did you tell me how many hours it took you to get through it?
I just said that it has 4 worlds, each with 3 levels each, and the levels each are probably like 10 to 15 minutes to complete each.
So depending on how good you are at it, it
So
might
what
only
it
take a few hours to beat.
Yeah, and that is because what you have is you're setting up your turrets, and then you've got like obviously sometimes it's one gate, sometimes it's multiple gates, and there'll be a logo above one of the gates of an enemy, and you can ask them to come sooner, and you get more scrap metal sooner, and for calling them out early, so you can get through a level pretty quickly if you can deal with them.
Right.
And the scrap metal you use for building and upgrading your turrets. But the more scrap that you have that you've not spent by the end, the more like bonus cubes you collect, which you can then use to upgrade your turrets and your own weapons and stuff like that. So yeah, I wish it looked a bit sharper in the headset. I wish it had dynamic foveated rendering. Like there's a lot of stuff like that because the art style on it is really good. But yeah.
I keep feeling that way, man. It's like it's I think it's less about DFR and more about like, man, the heavy use of anti-aliasing that like causes that like that soft look when games that look like this that aren't pushing the system to its limits or anything they don't even need DFR. They could just run with less anti-aliasing and be fucking crystal clear, super sharp. And I wish I feel that way about Walkabout, and Walkabout is great game. But then I played on Quest and I was like, why does this look like actually sharper than it does on PSVR2? And it's for that reason. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah. And then one other game I'll shout out this week that I played was Onirium.
Oh,
Oniriam. Yeah.
Yeah. How did that work for you?
Have you played it?
Yeah, I mean only the first hour or so.
I thought it was an interesting concept. I actually think the opening of the game, and when I talk about the opening, I'm talking about like the first 10 minutes, I think has a lot of interesting ideas, and it's very pretty. But then as it goes on, it's just kind of like, yeah, it's like it's the music in the game is absolutely stunning. The music is incredible, and like if you played that game without that music, it would be not that great at all. But the thing I found funny, like this is a game about being reflective and chill. And as you go through the game, you get to choose items, which are not really consequential to like your environment. It's like, do you want to help this animal or do you want money for greed? And if you choose the good thing, you get good karma. If you choose the bad thing, it's dark red, bad karma. But throughout the game, there are questions you get asked to get you to reflect, and it will be things about life, and it's like it was kind of nice. It's like, okay, it's cool, it's getting to ask questions and think about stuff. And then one of the questions it asked me was when you're dealing with inner pain, how do you deal with it? And I can't remember what one of the answers were of the three, but the other two,
Lash
one
out
was
and take it out on another person,
right, but one of the answers was distract yourself, and the other was like confront it. And I was like, well, confronting can be a good thing, and I was getting quite into it, and I was like, but I've always learned that if you're dealing with anxiety or depression, it's about shifting your attention onto something else that you have control over. We think about that like going for a run or a walk or something like that. Sure. So I went with distract yourself, and I clicked it, and it was like dark red, and I was like, whoa, what the fuck was that? It gave me bad karma, and I was like, okay, I'm not taking this too seriously, but that's pretty fucked up. You're asking people to like self-reflect, and it asks some pretty like reflective questions, and then you give some answers. It's like, no, that's the wrong answer, dark red and stuff like that. And then there was literally a question towards the end of the live stream. It was something as innocent as, when you dream, is it colorful and vibrant or is it colorless? And I said, oh, I've heard that when you dream, it's technically black and white, colorless, red. And I literally on the live stream went, fuck this shit. Like I was pissed off, and I was like, this game has a lot of cool things, but the idea that it's meant to be calm and reflective, and I'm losing my shit over the feeling judged. And then just the end of the story, I was at dinner on Sunday with my parents the day before my birthday. It was a birthday meal, and I was telling my parents about this game because they were asking about the VR I'd been doing. And then as I was having dinner, I'd seen that the devs had commented on that Let's Play, and what the devs said, I fucking love, but it's hilarious. I'm just going to read it now. They go, Hi, Myles. Thank you so much for trying Onirium. I just wanted to reassure you that I've personally collected all the feedback you have gave to make sure we can address them in upcoming patches. We've been fixing already and improved stuff with patches after release as we increase the speed velocity. Oh yeah, they had a stamina system for running, which is completely worthless. You know what I think of stamina systems, whether it's Behemoth or The Walking Dead or other games. The stamina systems or Creed always annoys me. But then they said, we'll discuss internally about the questions. Let me also reassure you that it's 100% not our intention to judge our players. We actually want them to feel heard. We'll talk internally about this and address most of the issues you had during your playthrough. On the other hand, very happy that you enjoyed the rest of it. And so much respect to them. But I just love the idea of, we want to reassure you, we are not judging you. And it was just yeah, it was a funny aspect of the game, which I was not expecting going into it.
Yeah, this game was fucking. I think if I remember correctly, it's made by the same team that made Mind Labyrinth VR Dreams on PSVR1, which was
correct.
A collection of areas, right? They looked like levels for different video games, right? Because they were all different styles and different locations and different, like some were futuristic and some were fantastic and some were whatever. And I was like, well, maybe these guys learned how to make, and they sold it as a meditative type game. And I was like, well, maybe these guys took their cool art style, took their cool graphic skills, and applied it and made an actual game. Only to find out that all they did was, instead of putting you into a lobby, or not a lobby, but like a hub world where you could go and access all of these different places one by one in whatever order you wanted. Now they've just taken a bunch of areas that they created that don't seem like they're connected whatsoever and strung them together. So you have to go through them in a linear fashion. And it was just like, what? These guys didn't learn anything from making their last game. This is, oh man. And this was definitely overpriced. Was this $35 or something? And
God. Yeah. I got it on discount, 40% off, and it was still $22 or something like that.
Oh man, this is rough.
So, I was at the discounted price. I would say that should at most be the starting point before the 40% discount.
At most.
Exactly. So that's not me saying it's even worth that. I'm just the idea that is after discount is crazy to me. So yeah, look, I respect people that use VR for different mediums and use it in different ways beyond gaming. I found the music very moving, and there were moments. There's one where you're in this city, this town area, which was great, and it was beautiful to look at. And then there were other environments where I was like, this is just, and there was no real sense of consequence. It's not like you do something that's bad karma and you feel bad about it. It's oh, okay, it's just made my bar more red than blue. So yeah, it might be something I try for the platinum maybe. But yeah, it was overall.
The resolution was rough too, man. It can look pretty, but the whole thing looks like a PSVR1 game. I was like, come on, especially if you're going to be charging $35, it's make the visuals pop, dude.
That should have been a cube VR style stunning with those kind of environments. Absolutely. And then, although we talked about it earlier and so we wouldn't say it again, I just want to say to people that are trophy hunters, Deadland Polygon VR, that's a 30-minute platinum.
But
you won't feel good for it afterwards. Yeah. Say again?
No, it's not even a good. Oh my god, why is it so fucking gigantic? There, get rid of it. It's not even fun 30 minutes, right?
No.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah. Okay, I don't understand what the point of Deadland Polygon was. Here they are, they're showing what seems like AI generated images of Deadland 2. And in the interim, they're we're just going to push out this Deadland Polygon game and maybe just generate a few extra sales. All they're doing is tarnishing the great name of Deadland before their big sequel comes out. It's sort of the same thing that happened to Dead Island, right? Between Dead Island 1 and Dead Island 2, there's a lot of crap that came out that was made me go, man, these people are just trying to cash in on a name that wasn't great to begin with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was very confused by it. Yeah. Anyway,
Milan,
those are a mixture of games that don't often get talked about, and arguably for good reason. But Captain Toonhead is the one this week that really pleasantly surprised me. And actually, Mutant Boxing League, although pricing wise,
Right.
it's hard to recommend.
Yeah, I thought it was great for $15.
Yep.
Yeah. Real quick here, we got Milan Grubisic. If I pronounce your name, I'm very sorry. Wrote Aces of Thunder. Any news? No, otherwise it would be the headline. Aces of Thunder is like one of the biggest games coming out to PSVR2. If there was news on Aces of Thunder, I would be like, this is front and center. This should be the headline. And I wouldn't want to wait for a GAMESCAST to talk about it. I would definitely want to make a breaking news report or whatever. But Aces of Thunder is the other game that I keep thinking of. I keep thinking of a couple games, actually, that when we think of, hey, tomorrow is the 2-year anniversary of PSVR 2. If Sony wants to make a splash, if they want to do something cool, like at least giving us a release date, give us a new trailer, right?
Yep.
That they're showing off on the official YouTube channel for PlayStation. Because again, all of the promotional materials that you find on Ace of Thunder have been from Gaijin themselves, over on Facebook, over on Instagram. That's where they're promoting this game. Sony's not doing it. So like, I think it's time for Sony to be like, hey, we've got this really big game coming to our headset. You guys should check it out, and then drop a new trailer and a release date. I mean, like, I don't think this will happen, but I'm nervous that it will. That they'll just fucking drop it on the PlayStation Store, and it'll be like, hey, stealth release, it's out now. Like, that's their big announcement for the 2-year anniversary, right? Because this thing got delayed a few times. It was supposed to be out at the end of 2024, and it's like it's just about time for it to be released. So I think we could be seeing this one come out soon, or at the very least, get a release date trailer for it soon. This could all be happening tomorrow, you guys, or nothing could happen tomorrow. Anything's possible. Noctis said, just give us Resident Evil 7 for PSVR 2. Yeah, dude. And then I would only stream that for the next 5 years because I feel like that's what I did all through the PSVR 1 era. Jason RS said, if you want to make Pokemon in VR and make it popular, replace the monsters with strippers. I mean, I think Pal World would be a great VR game. I mean, I know it's not strippers, but at least Pokemon with guns. I'm all for it. All right, let's check out some of these tips.
Speaking of strippers, yep.
Oh, because of tips?
I mean, I wouldn't know, but I assume they get tips.
Just a tip. Sorry, confusing strippers with prostitutes. No, when I would say tips, referring to like when I used to wait tables, man.
This episode's not going to get monetized.
Bro, I swear in the first 10 seconds of every episode.
Like, no, I know. That's what I was saying to myself. It's like, yep.
Yeah, I haven't made money on Without Parole since 2017.
That's why you guys need to tip, because Brian does you a favor by ensuring this cannot possibly be monetized within the first 10 seconds of every episode.
Slayer the Underground Game Cat with the level 2 membership. What's up? And then he comes back with a $5 tip. Oh, retracted the tip. Hold on. We're getting there.
Wait, you can retract the tip?
I mean,
sorry, we should
not
not
completely. Yeah, you can pull the tip out.
Okay.
Of the chat,
but then you put it back in. Yeah.
Whatever you feel like. With the $5 tip says, will you get mad if you don't see anything for the 2-year anniversary of PSVR 2? Myles, I don't know if you feel the same way, but I feel like we've been beaten down again and again as fans of PlayStation VR. It's been rough going, for the last 8 years, 9 years, however the fuck long it's been since PSVR 1 debuted. It hasn't been an easy ride, right? We've been shit on by PC gamers, we've been shit on by Quest gamers, we've been shit on by people who were upset about the price of the PSVR 2, people who were made fun of light tracking, people who were mad that PSVR exclusives didn't come to any other platform. I mean, it's been nonstop getting shit on for years now. For years, literally since day one. It has been hard to be a PSVR fan. Yet I love it. So, will I be mad? I'll be upset, but I will not be surprised. Because Sony has all of these tools at their disposal to satisfy us. All they have to do is again, put a spotlight on all these games that are coming our way. There's lots of good ones. 2025 looks like a great year. All they need to do is do something official to point these out to people that might not be otherwise familiar. Right? It's not like we're not asking them to be like, hey, make another AAA game for us. Hey, put Uncharted into VR, make a hybrid. Would that be great? Yes. Is that what we're asking them to do? No. We're asking them to pretend to care. Right? Just look like you care for us. That's all we're asking. And it would take such little amount of effort for that to happen.
And that's what makes it the disappointing factor. I speak about this obviously with the work I do now. I do obviously a lot with MetaQuest games, and I see the meta community, the creators program, and that the fact that if there are meta creators that create video content about games, they get featured in the UI. So when you're on the Meta Store, you will see videos of Nazy or Otterworldly or these other amazing creators covering the game on their channels. I'm like, that's cool. It's like solidarity. It's like a community. And I was like, I know that if I started doing meta coverage, I could have a chance of getting into that space. And it's like, and it's not that I don't like meta. I love what meta does for what it does. But I'm a PlayStation fan. Like PSVR2 is my community. This is my jam. I live it through and through. And yet and obviously they were very good to me, giving me a PSVR2 at launch. But that was a part of just the launch package they did with a lot of non-VR creators that covered it. So not downplaying that. That was amazing. But I'm just like, I just feel like we do so much to promote this. It'd just be nice if Sony was to help amplify all the hard work that not just what we're doing, but anyone's doing in the space.
Right, it's free publicity for them. All they need to do is retweet or show the videos on the PlayStation Store or whatever the hell. Again, minimal effort, maximum results. And just to be just to go on about that a little longer, right? It's like it was the biggest fuck you from Sony to be like, oh, we're giving all of these creators a headset, but not Brian, not without Parole. The channel that legit carried PSVR for the better part of its 6 years, even when everybody else abandoned it, said it was dead. Like they sent a headset to those people, but not me, right? Because they're fucking petty and they're not happy about the leaks, right? So I don't know, man. It's like it's a really fucking thankless job. When I'm like sitting here talking about the thing I love most, and the people who make the thing that I love most are like they want nothing to do with me, officially blacklisted. It's like it's just tiring, man. It's old, right? And it's like, yeah, you know what? If you don't want me to make content for PSVR 2, I'm kind of with you, Myles. It's like I could go over to Quest and we could have 500,000 subscribers by the end of the year, right?
Should we do it?
Do you want to announce it right now that we've been talking about this behind the scenes? Did you want to announce this now?
No, let's we'll talk about it after the show.
It's not happening, Greg. I don't want to do it. I really don't.
Oh shit! This was April. It was meant to be April Fools. I'm sorry, I got the date wrong.
No, it was. Listen,
it's February 22nd.
Hopefully, you guys understand that. Like, I do this because I love it, not because like I'm trying to make money off of it or whatever. So, if I want to make money on the VR space, I could. If I want to make money in the gaming space, I would just focus on the retro channel. Right? This is only doing this because we love it. So whatever. Thanks, Sony. You've been a real blast to work with. Waleed is now GameCat, specifically White Tiger. Why won't this scroll? Yep. That's great. I don't know what it says. Hold on. Oh my God, dude. I'm so fucking tired of everything being broken.
We're almost on the home stretch. I'm going to choose a really easy game for you in 4 minutes, the 4-minute challenge.
Waleed is now GameCat, specifically White Tiger with Canadian $2 tip, says 11 table tennis dev had plans for a PSVR 2 version. Any updates? No, I don't think I've talked to 11 for a while. But here's the interesting part about that is that, like, as you guys know, I talked to the Black Hole Pool people who's like, it seems like that game has been in development for PSVR 2 just as long. And they were like, oh yeah, we're just about done. It should be ready in like, February, maybe March. Like, so there's a lot of these games that are still in development that feels like they just went radio silent. You know what I mean? And it's like they could come out at any time. So 11 Table Tennis potentially could still be one of those games. I'll reach out to them though, and I'll see if we can find out, Wally.
I wish I could do a good Chris Cornell impression and start singing Black Hole Pool. Won't you come? Won't you come?
Well, fortunately, Mike Anderson is here, and he does a pretty good Chris Cornell impression with the $20 tip. Says, I haven't been this excited for a game like I am for the Midnight Walk in a long time, but the Obsessive Shadow looks promising too. Yeah, well, I mean, speaking of Quest, I did check out a demo of Obsessive Shadow, and it was a lot of fun. Feels like a Five Nights at Freddy's mini game style thing, which is very cool, and the developer is very passionate about what he's doing. And I think he's got a lot of plans. Like I think he's already got ideas for like his next game. So he's like, I got to finish Obsessive Shadow so I can, it's like that's what I love, man. We get these indie developers who are single person dev teams who are like just super passionate about what they're doing, right? They're like, we might not make any money, but we're gonna make it because I love it. Meanwhile, the Midnight Walk does look fucking cool. I think Midnight Walk might be number one on my list of upcoming PSVR2 games to play. Tim Burton style, like just claymation in VR, the first person interactions that they showed off during this trailer. I don't know. It looks amazing.
It looks epic.
Yeah. Kisno gifted 5 without parole memberships. Thank you so much. That was very sweet of you. The generosity here is amazing.
Yeah, this community really does keep things going. So
yeah.
It means a lot. Hitting the like button, watching, tipping. It's all really appreciated.
Speaking of tipping, Dan Kiefer with the $5 tip says, just the tip.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Dan. All right, that gets us caught up. Myles, let's play a 4-minute challenge and get out of here.
Yes, sir.
I heard you picked an easy one.
Are you ready? Because I've chosen my game.
All right, I am ready. Everybody, I need help. Please help me out in the chat. Myles has a PSVR 1 or PSVR 2 game in mind, and it's up to us with only 4 minutes but an infinite number of yes or no questions to figure out what game that is. So please ask good questions in the chat and then give me good game suggestions based on the answers we get. On my mark, get Des, go. Markio says, is it single player?
Yes.
Is it also multiplayer?
No.
Okay. Is it on PSVR 2?
Yes.
Is it on PSVR 1?
No.
Is it on other headsets other than PSVR 2?
Yes.
Okay. So PSVR 2, but multi-platform. Okay. Taking notes. Is it first person? Wow. What day is it? Are you sure it's not Monday?
Yeah, no. Yeah, it is.
Okay. Is it a puzzle game?
No.
Okay. Is it sci-fi?
No.
Would this ever be in consideration for like a top 25 list? Whether it makes it or not consideration?
I wouldn't think so. And just to say, the fact I paused on that will hopefully give you a clue of why I might pause on a question like that.
Okay. Sorry for the sirens on my end. Is it based on a known IP?
No.
Okay. I don't even remember what the question was that we just got an answer for. Yes, it would be in consideration for a top 25. Is that what you said? Yes?
No. No, it wouldn't.
Okay. Cool. Got it. Varglesoft says, have you live streamed it this week, Myles?
No.
Okay. Is it horror? Asked T.
No.
Okay. Is it difficult? Asked Looper.
I'd say it's got a challenge to it. Yeah. Okay. Like brutally difficult? Nah.
Okay. Is it new? Like, did it come out in the last year?
No. No, it didn't.
Okay. So first half of PSVR 2's lifespan, did it have full locomotion?
Yes.
Is it a type of sport?
No.
Okay. That eliminates a lot of what we're talking about. Let's see. Ace Gamer Cat says, are you an actual person? Hopefully this helps.
Yes. What do you mean an actual person? Like, are you like a real? I mean, you've got hands.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you have hands, but are you seeing it from the perspective of a person in the environment, in the world that you're viewing?
I'm going to say no to help with this.
Okay, that's interesting. I'm thinking now I've got like Before Your Eyes in my head, but like you were playing as different characters in that. Let's see. Are there any vehicles?
No.
Okay. No vehicles. You've got hands. You've got strangely not part of a character in the game. Crap.
How long have we got left?
Like 30 seconds.
Okay, you're basically a god in the sky.
Was it a launch game?
No.
Does it have a physical version?
No.
Okay. It's not Townsman. God in the Sky. Why can't I think of any? Yeah, that's it. That's all I got was Townsman. Shit. We're out of time. Is it Humanity?
No, it's not, Brian.
What is it, Myles?
It is Towers and Powers.
Oh my God. Which was like legit mentioned in the chat today. Oh man.
Yeah.
That was a fun game. I like Towers and Powers.
That was why the first person I was like, you do play as like you got hands and that, but like,
Yeah.
and then I had to double check, and it is you do play as an ancient god. So yeah, it was a nasty one. Towers and Powers, man. I had a really good time with it. Just shame it has no platinum.
People in the chat are still guessing. Oh my God. And there are so many good options. Like Barglesoft said Little City is bigger. The Fender said Bridge the Gap. Like, so there's plenty of examples of this style of game or this perspective that I should have had at least some ideas, some thoughts, and I had none. I swear every single time we do a 4-minute challenge, I forget every VR game I've ever played. That's how it works. Jim Perona says I hit like 3 times. I guess that works out in our favor.
It does. I just liked his 3 times.
I'm gonna love 3 times. There we go. We're good to go. All right, guys, it is time to get out of here. Hopefully everyone has great plans for the weekend ahead of them. And if you don't, come play Ancient Dungeon with me, because that's my plan for the weekend. Having started PSVR this week, we'll see if it happens. I just don't fucking know. So you guys have been awesome. Now, thank you everybody who supports the channel, whether it be Waleed or Rody for doing the timestamps, Rypop for getting this up on podcast services, all of my moderators who just fucking make my life so much easier, not only over here, but on our Discord. Remember, guys, come join our Discord, the greatest VR community that ever was and ever will be. Remember, get there before it dies. Today is VR day, and we have already announced that VR is dead. So hurry up. We've only got a few minutes left to enjoy our time together. Shout out to everybody who supports the channel financially over on patreon.com/withoutprogames by being a member over here, by tipping during the show. You guys are all very generous. Really appreciate it. But even if you just sit back and hang out, shoot the shit, play 20 questions with us, whatever it is, we're just happy that you're here. And motherfucker, I did not get a clip of the week. This is the one thing I need to prepare before the show, Myles.
No, we're good. We're good. There's always next week. And
we'll do 2 next week.
We talked about some other stuff. We talked about some other stuff at the end.
We'll do 2 next week, Myles. Is that fair?
Clips of the week. Interesting.
Clips of the week. Excellent. Or if you sit back, watch the show, and don't say a goddamn word. We know you're out there, and we love you just as much. Happy Friday, Myles.
Happy Friday, Brian. Happy Friday, Game Cats. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next time.
Let's go. Oh, what a terrible thumbnail. Man.
Oh, no.
This is a fucking terrible thumbnail.
Oh, my goodness, man.
You know what, Myles? This is the kind
Look at that.
This is what's going to bother me. So it's just...
Is that... what's that?
What?
Taking a poop in the woods?
Mm-hmm. That is 100% what we're taking a picture of.
Is that a sash squat? Sash squat.
Hey, Miles.
Hey, Brian.
Ask me if the abominable snowman's called.
What's the abominable snowman called?
No, ask me if the abominable snowman's called.
Oh, has the abominable snowman called?
Not Yeti. Good night, everybody. Have a great weekend. Bye.